Hi there, I'm Shavik, and today's topic is how a Scrum Master will make sure that daily Scrum is not turned into a status report meeting by a senior team member. So I observed in the past that teams' daily Scrum ends up turning into a status report meetings where teammates report to the manager or a team lead, and it actually defeats the self-organizing benefits of a Scrum, right? So, yeah, before moving ahead, let us first understand how daily Scrum is different from a status meeting. So, as per Scrum Guide, the purpose of a daily Scrum is to inspect progress towards the sprint goal, to synchronize activities, and create a plan for the next 24 hours. It is by developers for the developers, and it's time boxed to 15 minutes, and it happens every day. So that's what Scrum Guide suggests. So now let's see what is the status report meeting. So here different teams in status report meeting, what happens is different team members, they come together and they give an update on their progress of the task that they are working on to somebody else, somebody who is typically a project manager or maybe a team lead who is maintaining a project or delivery plan. So in simple words, daily Scrum is not for reporting back what just happened. Instead, to reflect on what happened and replan for the next day. It's a plan for the developers to get the work done and achieve their sprint goal. Yeah. Most of the time, people are either ignorant or less educated about the whole purpose of daily Scrum, or they, intentionally interfere with the development team's self-organization to share their, to show their superiority, or with a genuine concern. There are genuine concern towards achieving the targets. So one way or another, it's a crucial responsibility of a Scrum Master to help all the team member, irrespective of their seniority, to overcome this typical, daily Scrum anti pattern. Yeah, the heart of the daily Scrum is to use it as a micro planning and the coordination session for the next 24 hours, and not for everyone to share their status report to anyone. Status can be derived from even a simple task board or burn down or a burn up chart or any other information editors for that matter, right? So as a Scrum Master, we must help and guide the team to understand what daily Scrum is meant for. Over the time, the team gets mature enough to understand and conduct it on their own and in an effective way. But yeah, initially we need to encourage the teams to rotate the facilitation of the daily Scrum among themselves, and rather than a team lead leading it every day. So this way the whole team take the ownership of the meeting completely, and do it in a way that suits them the best. Okay, so let me share an incident with you all. So I was part of a team in an organization where they are still very new in their agile transformation journey. So even the Scrum teams were not idle, and we had a role called a program manager. So basically, he was a very senior guy, a typical technical project manager turned into a program manager, and he oversees the deliveries of for a couple of teams, for a couple of Scrum teams. So he used to lead the Scrum events before I joined team as a Scrum Master. And once I joined, slowly I took over the facilitation and the process related responsibilities from him. But what I observed, that he is still very much involved in leading the daily Scrum and asking questions which were not aligned with the progress towards the sprint goal, and it was more focused towards the individual's contributions within the team, and his focus was on the progress of set task or milestones, and not on valuable business outcome. So even what I noticed, that even during my coffee chats with the team members, one of the developers, he mentioned that the real daily Scrum starts after the original one ends, because they can finally discuss things freely and at ease without feeling pressurized by this manager. So it can, sometimes it can get really frustrating when you are sharing an update with the team, and someone interrupts you with a comment or asks a question, throwing you off your train of thoughts. So it makes you frustrated, and sometimes you get disengaged for the remainder of the meeting, right? So as a Scrum Master, what I could have done here, I could have asked the manager to stay away from daily Scrum. I could have stopped him from asking questions to the developers during daily Scrum. I could have reached out to his manager and escalated his behavior, right? But I didn't, because it could have annoyed the manager, as he was in the company from a very long time, and he had a great network and he knew the product in and out. And management might not pay heed to my complaint as well. It might result into the rift between the team, which may impact the whole project in a bad way in the long run. So now you must argue saying that, okay, you are a scrum master, you're supposed to be fearless, you're supposed to safeguard the process and the scrum rules, right? But trust me, sometimes problem we are seeing is not the actual problem. We need to zoom out a bit, and then look at the whole situation, the holistic view of the whole situation. uh, Once you do that, you'll figure out that there are many other ways to tackle a situation, rather than trying hard to fix a problem which is actually not a problem. That's something which a agile coach who was kind of my mentor, he told me long back, and it stuck with me, and I always do that whenever I'm solving anything, either in professional life, at office or at home. Yeah. So what I did is I had a connect with him, with the manager. I tried to understand the reason behind him doing the micromanagement. So I didn't say micromanagement this word, but I tried to figure out the reason behind it. After couple of connects, I figured out that he had a bad experience in the past with a different project team, which was working in the waterfall, and which made him take preventive measures, or you can say seek daily progress reports from everyone. Yeah. So I also observed his behaviors and kind of questions he asked during the meetings, to understand that his focus is to make sure that none of the developers are sitting idle, or taking the right approach to develop a code, and also if a team is going to meet the release deadline or not. Okay. So he is accountable for delivery, right? So he's accountable for delivery. He's trying to make sure that the team is on the track. Fair enough. क्योंकि considering the organization is not fully agile, and our program manager have to keep the business sponsors informed, he's right at his place, asking questions and trying to get as much information from the team. Okay, so what I have to do now? So what I did that time is I created a custom dashboard. So we were using Azure DevOps for tracking our project and managing our Scrum board that time. So I pulled in all the relevant metrics like burn down charts for both the sprint as well as release, status of PBIs, based on the assignees, the status, then risk and impediment tracker, dependency tracker, age of the PBIs, etc., etc. There are some multiple related KPIs which I pulled in, and I put it in that custom dashboard. And I also wrote few queries to pull in the right kind of information radiators, which I initially thought that program manager will be interested in. And then once the dashboard is ready, I shared the dashboard link to him, and also explained him how to read all the metrics and generate insights out of it. But as you know, that old habits, especially if those habits are not good, they are very hard to change, right? So it required me few more sessions of coaching and convincing the program manager to start referring to the dashboard, rather than taking the status report during the daily scrum. uh, I also started sending the snapshot of the dashboard to him over email every day, and also seek feedback. So I kept checking with him at every possible chance, that whether the KPIs I'm sharing is enough for him, or he's looking for any other KPIs. How it has how this regular follow up helped me is, rather than being a stakeholder for me, that manager came to my side. Now I included a few more KPIs on his request, and I also removed few of them which he is not interested in and which were not relevant to him. So yeah, and on the side, I also kept the team in loop regarding the dashboard and how program manager is getting insights from there as well. And one more thing which I think I did it wrong that time, but it worked for me, and I thought that it was a correct approach that time. But if you ask me personally, now I think this is something wrong which I did. So maybe I'll tell what I did to you guys. So there were few of the developers in the team who were close to me. So they're kind of friends. They became kind of friends, and they're also annoyed with the program manager asking status report, during the daily scrum. So I told them that, yeah, next time while giving your status, please mention something like, yeah, as it was shown in the dashboard, or as it's showing up in this KPI, today's status is like XYZ. So once team started using these lines, the managers slowly stopped asking such questions, and relying more on the dashboard to track the progress. Yeah. So that's something which worked, some tricks, tips and tricks, small tricks. So I also had to coach in the parallel to a team. I had to coach the team to here to make sure that they keep the board up to date, so that our dashboard reflect the latest status all the time. Be it adding the comments to PPIs, or moving the PPIs under the right status, or raising a blocker or impediment at the right time, or that's anything for that matter. So that was also a bit challenging initially, because people were not very used to updating the board or adding comments, or all the stuff. But with some follow up, some coaching, some hand holding, we managed to change our ways of working. Yeah. So I have used, yeah. So this story, yeah, this worked well. A good story to tell every time this kind of questions come to me during interviews. But yeah, I have used a few more techniques in past to fix similar sort of daily scrum anti patterns. So these techniques are read out a disclaimer, or ambassador technique. Then there is was something called instant feedback. So there are many others, but yeah, maybe I can share them some other time, because if I started sharing those, this video will get too long, right? So yeah, this is gonna be the end of today's video. I hope I am able to share something new to you guys. And yeah, as a scrum master, if we encourage team members to say, this isn't relevant to me, or can we move this to a smaller discussion, or can you please refer to the KPIs which has the latest information, then whenever our daily scrum gets out of a bit out of a bit of the context, so it will help. After all, the daily scrum is in there to serve the team members, right? Serve the developers, so they should feel free to speak up when the meetings isn't doing the job, right? Yeah, okay. Thanks everyone. Keep learning, keep scrumming. Cheers.